And hello again from WJ Live, powered by the Western Journal. I'm Josh Manning, Deputy Managing Editor for the Western Journal. And thank you for joining us in what is another weird, not quite live episode of WJ Live. As you can see, we're in a different setting today. And that is because our new set, which was supposed to be finished today, is not finished yet. I know you can't imagine that. The contractor's behind on it. Who would have thought? So things are a little bit different today, but that is okay. Joining me today will also be Olivia Brown, WJ contributor from time to time, and WJ contributor and intern Cameron Arcan. They'll be addressing issues of the day as well. First off, I want to talk with you guys sort of honestly about a discussion that's been going on in the newsroom for the last week. If you have been watching the news, if you've been watching conservative Twitter, you have probably seen pictures of people greeting President Biden at different stops and essentially not greeting him at all, but actually protesting him. We've had stories that have done very well showing a group of utility workers turning their backs on his motorcade. We've also had videos showing people wearing T-shirts or holding signs that say F Joe Biden, only they have not censored it the way I just did. And so we've had a talk in the newsroom about this. We're a Christian conservative news and commentary organization, and we're kind of grappling with what do we do with this F Joe Biden movement. And we talked about it a little bit, and it's a difficult thing to figure out what to do with. But I think one thing that's interesting is to talk about what has caused people to do that. Even at its worst, I don't remember a whole lot of F Trump signs out there. Now, we had Robert De Niro getting up and saying, listen to me closely, F Donald Trump. So there was that in kind of the Hollywood crowd was doing that. But we didn't see it just that widespread, I didn't think. There was lots of nasty stuff, but it has become even nastier. And so I started wondering why in the world this is, what's causing this. Then I happened to listen to Victor Davis Hanson for a couple of days, a couple of different lectures he did. He made some points that I think were good that I'm going to borrow from him. You know, these folks who are out there with these signs and with these T-shirts on, they've been called some pretty rough stuff too. And you and I have been called that. We've been called deplorables. We've been a basket of deplorables. We've been bitter clingers. People who cling to their guns and the Bible. We've been called Neanderthals. That was Joe Biden. We've been called chumps. That was also Joe Biden. The first two of those were Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And also, we're routinely called racist, fascist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, bigoted, and a litany of other just incredible insults that really go to people's character. But it's not just that. What the Democrats and the left have done to Americans over the last generation is truly appalling. We have essentially had anyone whose work could be copied by someone in China, we have had that job shipped over to China. We got this idea, if you remember when the opioid epidemic was at its peak, we got this idea that, oh gosh, the people in these states, they all got hooked on drugs and then the jobs went away. Maybe it was actually the reverse, that globalization sent the jobs away. And then these people they had made livings and lives off of muscular labor, off of their backs, doing hard things. Those jobs were shipped out to China. And the rich got far richer off of that. But the people who were left in those states had nothing. At the same time, we're living in the least racist country and culture in history. Yet we're called bigoted because we see affirmative action and think, well, you know what? That's actually a form of racism itself. We see the 1619 Project that says the country was founded on racism and slavery. It's fundamentally untrue. So we have seen people called unbelievably horrible things. We've seen lives destroyed by the left shipping jobs overseas. And if you look at what's happening to the military right now, you'll see General Miley talking not about how to keep American assets in Afghanistan or how to keep Americans safe there, but you will see him talking about how wonderful it is that all of the squads that are out there, they have the requisite number of minorities and women. It is completely opposite of what we should be looking for. And in fact, we are slouching toward the problems that you see actually in the ancient world. We're slouching toward tribalism, where we identify more with people who are of our own race. We are not as much Americans anymore as we are different tribes, different blocks, different voting blocks. And that is a dangerous, dangerous thing. As you think about where the country is headed, more and more people talk about what will happen if the country splits. I hope it doesn't split, but I fear that it will. And the closer we get to that point, the more trivial signs like F. Joe Biden will be, because the dangers that are going to come with that kind of a split are far, far worse. This is something that not only conservatives need to be thinking about, but it's something that leftists need to be thinking about. Is this a fight they really want? For those of us who are conservatives, we need to stay the course. We need to be as civil as possible, but we need to never give up, never compromise. As an old friend of mine used to say, it is better to be divided by truth than united in error.
Today I'm talking about the newest crisis at the border, of people flooding in from Haiti. Just in this last week, we've seen this go up 1,400% of crossings from the southern border. In 24 hours, there was 4,000 people that went to this specific bridge in Texas. Senator Ted Cruz has more to say about this situation.
I'm here in Del Rio, Texas, September 16th. I'm underneath the bridge. Behind me, 10,503 people. This is a crisis that is unfolding. It's a man-made crisis. Just over a week ago, there were fewer than 1,000 people here under the bridge, averaging between 700 and 1,000. Then, on September 8th, the Biden administration made a decision to cancel deportation flights back to Haiti.
This is a humanitarian crisis. These people are living in squalor. Reports say that there are only 20 toilets for 10,000 people, and this number is growing day by day by day, hour by hour. Like I said, 24 hours, there was 4,000 people. Yesterday, there was 10,000. Is there going to be 14,000 tomorrow? Texas Governor Abbott tried to remedy this situation by closing 6 ports of entry so that these people would not come in. However, the Biden administration blocked this. Joe Biden does not care about America. In fact, what he's been talking about is not the border. He hasn't talked about the border in 1 month. Instead, he's talking about unvaccinated Americans and vilifying half the country. He should be talking about this super spreader event in Texas. All these people coming from Haiti are unvaccinated. They are going to be coming into the country and spreading it to more people. That is wrong. That is just wrong. To top it off, Biden is trying to hide this from Americans. In fact, when Fox News sent a drone and shocked America by showing what was at this bridge, he had the FAA institute an order restricting drones going over this specific area. This is a cover-up. Biden is using the government to cover up his own failures. This is not how you should be using the government. This is an abuse of power. And this is why journalists exist and why I am proud to be a part of WJ Live and doing this so that we can share information just like this. Look at these photos. Look at these children that were abandoned on the side of a river. Look at this. This is wrong and we need to be talking about it, and Biden is trying to cover it up and the FAA is helping him. This is Olivia Brown and I'm out.
So you may have been hearing the name General Mark Milley quite a bit in the past few days with the Biden administration defending the general. He's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the highest ranking military officials in our country. But what you might not know is the context behind why you're hearing this name so often. So to start off with, the Washington Post reporters and editors Bob Woodward and Robert Costa released a book slamming the Trump administration titled Peril. And it's coming out soon, so we'll be able to get a full idea of what they said. But there's a report centralizing from the book that General Mark Milley spoke on several occasions to a Chinese general in the lame duck period of the Trump presidency, essentially warning this Chinese general, hey, I'm worried that Donald Trump might attack your country, but I'm going to try and stop it. Now, it doesn't matter that he called and contacted a Chinese general. What matters is the fact that what he said on the phone could have potentially even be arguably seen as, to quote Arrested Development, light treason. The reason why we talk about this is to basically go against the United States government, or at least very quietly take actions to warn a foreign government. That's something that should be taken very seriously. To put this into better words, the former Secretary of Defense, Christopher Miller, who was the Secretary of Defense under President Trump, he released this statement to Fox News. He said the Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff is the highest-ranking military officer whose sole role is providing military-specific advice to the President, and by law is prohibited from exercising executive authority to command forces. Now, basically what he's saying here is, hey, his job is to speak directly with President Trump, whether or not he liked him during this lame duck period of the presidency. Going on, he says the chain of command runs directly from the president to the Secretary of Defense, not through the chairman. Now, I hope this better equips you guys with some better context of what's going on. There's a lot of calls from people like Rand Paul and Marco Rubio to get him to either resign or be fired by President Biden, and at the very least, testify before Congress so we can get a clearer picture of what's going on. Bob Woodward loves to slam Republican administrations, and this story will be a big deal if everything turns out to be true. So got to keep following on that. Thank you. That's all I have for today.
Folks, that's our show for this Friday and the last show of the week, and hopefully the last show where we don't have a fresh new set. Be sure to tune in Monday to see that set. Again, fingers crossed. In the meantime, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button. Once you click that, you'll be able to click a little bell off to the side. Click that. That'll make sure that you get a notice every time we go live. Additionally, we're so grateful for your watching the show. We're so grateful for you reading our articles. And just by doing that, you're helping us get the truth out. But if you'd like to support us in a more direct way, you can always go to westernjournal.com/join. That's westernjournal.com/join. There are a couple of options there for you to support us in a direct monetary way. That money will go straight to conservative journalism. We are not powered by a hedge fund or a billionaire. This is a small family-owned operation. And we don't skim off the top. We don't live lives of luxury. We are out there working hard every day. And any help you can provide will be an enormous blessing. For Cameron, for Olivia, for all the folks in the booth, and for the guys who are hopefully working on the set right now, I'm Josh Manning. We'll see you Monday.